Hello, welcome back. We are going to be doing some more network services on TryHackMe. So this is going to be a walkthrough. We're up to task 5, understanding Telnet. And I just need to tell you that there is a written write-up below if you look in the description, and timestamps are going to be in the video. So if you just want to jump along, go for it. Okay. With that out of the way, let's go through task 5, understanding Telnet. If you haven't already, start your virtual machine that we're going to be looking into. And as always, I'm sort of just going to go over the info roughly. I'm not going to go into everything, but what is Telnet? Telnet is an application protocol which allows you to use, with the use of Telnet, a Telnet client. Wow, great start. To connect to and execute commands on a remote machine that is hosting a Telnet server. So, application protocol. So replacement, it's been getting replaced by SSH because everything's in clear text or plain text. So you're not going to see Telnet, which is kind of funny because I did actually see it in my router, or my old router. So, yeah. Good thing I don't have that anymore. How does Telnet work? So the user connects to the server by using the Telnet protocol, which means entering Telnet into a command prompt. The user then execute commands on the server by specific Telnet commands in the Telnet prompt. Okay, so we need to go from our shell into a Telnet terminal or prompt shell. You can connect to a Telnet server with the following syntax. Cool. Okay, so what is Telnet? So Telnet is an application protocol. What has slowly, yay, 37. What has slowly replaced Telnet? So that is SSH. So you've probably done a bit of SSH already, connecting to the virtual machines in TryHackMe. How do you connect to a Telnet server with the IP of 10.10.10.3 on the port 23? So we saw here Telnet, so that should be as easy as going, hey, we want to connect to Telnet, we want to use this, and we want to go to port 23. And the lack of what means that all Telnet communication is in plain text. So it did allude to up here that it's all in just clear text or plain text. So if we look at our hint, what does the modern internet use to communicate securely? So we can think about like SSL and HTTPS, like all of these forms of communications encrypt our data. In encryption. So there's just no encryption on Telnet. So any protocol that uses plain text or, is not cool. So yeah. Encryption. We want encryption. We want our data to be all jangled up and confused. So if anybody sees it, they can't understand it. Cool. So task 6, enumerating Telnet. So let's get started. Before we begin, make sure to deploy the room. So I've done that. So I've got my IP up here. Yours is going to be a little bit different. We've already seen how key enumeration can be in exploiting a misconfigured network service. However, vulnerabilities that could be potentially trivial to exploit don't always jump out at us. Man, this is something that keeps coming up for me, because when we run scans and stuff, it's just like a wall of text. I find it really hard to siphon through. I don't know if it's the same for you, but this really resonates with me. So for that reason, especially when it comes to enumerating network services, we need to be thorough in our method, which I'm learning. Port scan, let's start out the same way as we usually do, a port scan to find out as much information as we can about the service's application structure and OS for the target machine. Nmap, going to use Nmap. So first question here is how many ports are open on the target machine? Okay, so we're just going to run an Nmap scan against our target, but we do want to add a couple of switches here. So some of the switches that I'm learning is double VV for verbose, so we can see the information. The other one that I forget is outputting it into a file, so we can output into scan ports. We can just output that into a file. But I've also learnt if we T this out, so this is a pipe command at the end. So we're going to pipe the outputs of this through another command called T, which is going to put it into another file. And I'm just going to make this a backup file. The reason for this is I have learned from my short time doing this is great to get your final results of this scan using the -on output to a normal file. But just in case I cancel the scan or something, this won't actually run until it's finished. So if we just T out the results, you're going to get everything. So it's good just to have a backup file. Or just not do this part and only do T, whatever. I really like using PN for ping, but I don't know if that's going to work. Also, we don't want to specify ports just yet, but I'm going to speed it up using T3. So T1 to 5 is how fast it can go. So I'm just going to use T3. I think that's fine. Let's just see what we get. Okay, so our port scan has finished, and we've got an 8012 on TCP. That's the only thing open out of all 65,535 ports, just this one. And this is what they call a non-standard port. So let's go over these. How many ports? So we've just got the one. What port is this? So it's on TCP, it's open, and we've got TTL. So we know that it's Telnet, but it's actually asking us for the exact number, which I thought it wasn't for a second. This port is unassigned, but still lists the protocol it's using. So what protocol is this? So it's on TCP, so Transmission Communication Communication Protocol. Yeah, I think that's what it stands for. Now let's rerun it. So we've already done it with -p- to get everything. So we don't need to run anything. It says how many ports show up as open. Nothing. There's nothing else. Everything else is closed bar this one. So that's why we want to run that, and that's good. So don't be like me and get tripped out when we don't see anything. Yeah, based on the title returned to us, what do we think this port could be used for? A something. So this is some sort of communication. Like, we know it's gonna be Telnet, but like a service? Are we looking for a service? It's based on the title returned to us. What do we think this port could be used for? I mean, a communication. Who could it belong to? Gathering possible usernames as is an important step. Sorry, did I miss something? It's important to try every enumerating for this. You gather here for the exploitation stage based on the title returned to us. So what have we got from this so far? We're not running anything else at this point. I know what I need to do. So I need to actually specify against port. So we're not, we're gonna actually just go, what happened to my, we're gonna go -8012, because that's the port, yeah. So we're gonna do another one, -8012. This time we're just going to aggressively look at port 8012. What on earth is just happening right now? What the actual what? Okay, don't know what that was, but we're good. I'm going to calm down the speed. So let's just run this against this one port to get more information. That's what was tripping me out. I haven't further enumerated using Nmap. I wasn't supposed to use another actual program supposed to properly enumerate. Shows how flamin' shows how good I am at this. Anyway, I will get this. I will understand cybersecurity and penetration testing. So we're gonna let this run, and the last one took a while, so I might go ahead and pause again for this to finish. Alrighty, so we have got our scan completed. This time using the -A for aggressive and all. I'm trying to use the NSE or Nmap script engine. And we found something under here. So this is what I was missing earlier, a back door. So there's something placed here to connect back to. So in this case, the username we can assume might be Skitty. Always keep a note of information you find during your station so you can refer back to further exploits. So absolutely. So if we list out everything, so I've got the whole scan port, and then I've got the 8012. So if I ever need to, we can go and use the 8012 and get this scan back. So always have the backup, or just files. Awesome. Okay, so let's go over to exploiting now. So types of Telnet exploit. Telnet, being a protocol, is in itself insecure for the reasons we talked about earlier. Plain text, no encryption. So it sends everything, pretty much. And there are CVEs, I can't remember the CVEs, but basically known vulnerabilities for Telnet clients and server systems. So we can look up here and here. Cool. So, common vulnerabilities and exposures. Got to try and remember that one. Common vulnerabilities and exposures. It's a list of publicly disclosed computer security flaws. So when someone refers to a CVE, they usually mean the CVE ID number assigned to that security flaw. Known vulnerabilities. Okay, so method breakdown. So from our enumeration stage, we know there is a poorly hidden Telnet service running on this machine. The service itself is marked as a backdoor with possibly usernamed Skitty. So connecting to Telnet, we can use the Telnet that we had specified on the port that we know. So from the earlier, it was 23 as an example, but in this case, we're using 80112. So that's the port that we're using to connect over to this machine, and we're going to be using the IP. So we have got a connection, Skitty's backdoor. Type help to see what we can do. We can go .run command, but I don't know any commands. So this is at least where we can do some sort of reverse shell. So reverse shells, concept of getting the machine to send back a shell to our machine that will be listening. So we can see here, victim connects to an attacker on a listening port. So we can try and execute some sort of reverse shell. Honestly, I'm still getting my head around reverse shells and the other type of shell that's common, which I can't remember the name of. Okay, let's try and connect to the Telnet port, which we just did. So great, it's open Telnet communication. What message do we receive? So we've got Skitty's backdoor, type help. I think it just wants that. Cool. Let's try and execute some commands. Do we get a return on any input we enter into the Telnet session? I mean, I do get a return from help, but if I try and run anything. So, I mean, yeah, I do get something from help. But if I try and run anything, no, I don't. So the answer is no, obviously. That's strange. Let's check to see if what we're typing is being executed as a system command. So let's start a TCP listener on the local machine. All right, I'm gonna go Control-Shift-R to get a terminal up here. I don't know why this trips out the font's really annoying. So we want to go TCP-DUMP IP to whack ICMP-I on tunnel 0. So this is going to be listening to anything that comes over. Is that this is like the only time I've actually used TCP dump. So let's try and go help again. Do we see anything? Run. No, that's not going to do anything because we want to see a specific listening for ICMP traffic. Right, so now we can use the command ping local. So if we go run ping, and I'm not going to remember the IF config, just get our local IP here. So if we ping 1, cool. So we saw that ping request. So we do need to interact, so we can actually execute things. I just need to know the commands to run. So now use the commands. So this is okay. I'm understanding. So yes, we can see something. Great. This means that we're able to execute system commands and that we're able to reach out to a local machine. So we're going to generate a reverse shell payload using SF Venom. This will generate encode netcat reverse shell for us. Here's our syntax. Cool. So we need to do this on our local machine. So I'm just going to go over, open a new shell. So if we run this command, oh, whoopsie, but we're going to edit it just to put our local IP in here, which I have forgotten again, and I will never remember. I see how people do create like variables, and they put their IP in. I think I should really learn how to do that. So this is a part of the Metasploit framework, and they made it a standalone tool. And we're using the P for payload, and then this is a built-in payload that we can use. So I'm just learning MSF Venom. So we've set our listener host to this, which is us. So we're going to try and tell the machine, hey, connect back to us on this port 4444. So we then have our payload, which is this. So this is going to tell the machine using this command to set up netcat and to send this connection back to us, which is kind of crazy. So we can go run, paste that in there. I'm not going to hit enter because if we hit enter and we're not listening, then we're not going to actually hear it. So we just want to set up a -L on netcat. So NC for netcat -L NVP, so verbose, and I think that's something about DNS, don't rename, can't remember, and then P. So we don't want to do 1237, we're going to do 444 because we set it to talk back over that port. We could set any port, it doesn't matter the actual number that we set. So if I go back here and we hit enter, and we go back here, we now have a connection. So before it was just listening and it said connect to from unknown, and we have some sort of non-interactive shell, meaning we don't have the nice prompts. But if we go like who am I, because confidently we know that it is running some sort of Unix or Linux system, so we can run who am I, print working directory. So we're in root, and we can list out what's here, and we can cat out our flag. But yeah. Whoa, sick. So let's just go back here because I did go ahead a little bit. What does the generated payload start with? Started with this, which I don't know what that command does. What would the command look like to set up our listening port? So netcat -lvp. I did the N, but it doesn't matter. And then listening port 4444. Yay! Great. Now we run that and do everything that I did, and we get this, and we can check that in there, and we're done. Sick. That was awesome. So that was our 3 tasks for Telnet in our network services. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I had a couple of troubles here and there with my Nmap scan and that, but that's fine. It's part of learning. So we can go ahead and turn off that machine. So if you want to stick around, I'm going to go ahead and get into the FTP in the next video. So if you want to do that, that sounds cool. If not, all good. Let me know what you enjoyed about the video if you want to. Otherwise, I will see you in the next one. Cool.